is that so many of us have changed how we identify, right? How we claim things back for ourselves in our bodies and our autonomy.
What's your carnal theory?
I think what happened, or what has happened, is that from a colonialized mindset, sex empowers. It makes you feel great in your body. It makes you realize what pleasure is. It makes you realize I have a connection to this person, even if it's a brief one. It puts you and grounds you in your body so that you can walk forward and do other things.
Owning our bodies at all.
Exactly. And this is the thing. They don't want you to own your body.
And that sounds so radical. And we have a class, fucking Capitalism, that we dive into this for important reasons. I pause there and I interject there because it makes it sound so radical. They don't want you to own your body. But just to like, for anybody who was like, whoa, what the fuck at that? Like, just kind of think about it for a second. Like try, like go with us. This is just like a mental exploration. Think through. You can start with maybe the education that you've received about your body. Chances are minimal, without like going into a whole other hour-long conversation, like analyzing, like if you think about your body education and your sex education, a typical answer is either you didn't have any, it was questionably correct, because here in the United States, not even every state has to give you medically accurate information. So why might be like a question, like, why is that? Why wouldn't they at least give us medically accurate information? Yeah. And then like, if you want to keep rolling with that, think of all the products that are pitched to you from the very, very start, be it makeup, be it a t-shirt and looking a certain way, be it a t-shirt with a slogan that makes you feel a certain way. Maybe it's something athletic. Maybe it's you can do it, or you're so cute, you're so pretty, sparkles. Maybe it's think outside the box. Like there's all these messages that, like, without going into like conspiracy woo-woo land, like these are matter of fact, concrete facts that like you can go to your local anything and you can see that this exists. By no means are all of these things bad. Many of these things add benefit and positivity to our lives. Like soap, gorgeous invention, has literally helped like keep humans around, like there are things that are beneficial to our existence. But so like, I just wanted to interject there and be like, it's not like, it is such a radical thought. And we talk about how radical owning our bodies are. So anyway. I think in that everyone's suffering. 100%. Like that's the important
100%. Like everyone is suffering under the guise of this whole thing. Imagine if sex was something we all spoke about very openly all the time. Imagine, right? Where
showing
you knew there was someone that you could go to speak about what was happening for you, right? What was happening in your body. It already starts when we're in our teens, when your parents don't tell you shit about what's going to happen to you unless you're very fortunate and you have very open-minded parents. My parents did not say a word. When I started to bleed, even though people had said, oh, I'm a woman now, I'm on my period. Like, I didn't know what that meant. I have no idea what that meant. I just knew I was happy it hadn't already happened to me because I was seeing my friends going like nuts over not knowing. And then when it happened to me, I was like so ashamed and embarrassed because no one had said anything. No one tells you, right? I think what's fortunate about now is that so much more information exists that is accessible and things are different. But as you said, Abby, like products are pitched at you in a particular color, in a particular way to make you go buy it. They wanted us to procreate after wars, right? I get it. They didn't want anyone to be with someone that couldn't produce children. Right? That was the mentality for a while because populations were low, all kinds of reasons. right? But what's the excuse now? What's the excuse now? What's the reason for this not happening? What is wrong with our society when we can't talk about something that is absolutely, perfectly natural and something all of us are involved in? And in not talking about it, we then also erase asexuality. In not talking about it, we erase transness and gender non-conforming folks, right? We erase a whole bunch of, we erase being gay, being lesbian, right? We erase all of that one by one because we don't get to speak about our own bodies. We don't get to embody and be present with our traditions, and how if you were in a tribe, the women would take the girls and teach them already. The men would teach the boys. And then you'd have genders in between. All of that has been erased, and it's only now that people are starting to reclaim. And this is something that I find incredible about this time, is that so many of us have changed how we identify, how we claim things back for ourselves in our bodies and our autonomy. There's a lot more talk about survivors. There's a lot more talk about what we want to do and have for our bodies and how precious they are. What does care mean, right? In a space where you can actually genuinely talk about what is sex, what is desirable to you, what your fantasies are, instead of acting things out in a destructive way, instead of harming yourself because you want something that nobody else wants to talk about and it's forbidden and it's taboo. What would it be to change that and be present with that and to share that with each other, which is what we're meant to do?
Yeah. And what an irony, looping back to what we were discussing, and then we'll look back on your carnal theory to round things out. What a funny thing that we know that we place so much importance on education and having these degrees, as we've discussed. But when it comes to things that we know we're going to participate in, we would rather know nothing about it. And then when we are harmed, or others we know are harmed, those people are criminalized. And I'm not saying that it's not right for people to be criminalized in some ways. Like there's clear lines of right and wrong. Significant amounts of people who don't know what the right and wrong are because there's just not education. Like basic consent isn't taught. And we wonder when someone gets upset when the words no mean fuck off and you suck and all these come with all these other connotations. We wonder why someone might get upset and doesn't just inherently understand what consent is. No means no. It's it's yes, it should be that, but we haven't provided the education for that to be understood.
Exactly.
And I want to be real clear here. As a survivor, I am not giving loopholes here. There are just things that you should not be doing, and people should know, and people should be.
But that's the unfortunate thing. That's the unfortunate thing. We should.
If a doctor messes up, we persecute. Our lines are very messed up.
They're very messed up. We are complex beings, right, with a lot of nuance. And what happened was they wanted to make everything binary. They wanted to make it black and white and straightforward and easy to explain. And we're not easy to explain. We're not easy to put in a box. We've tried to make it easy to put people in a box. And I'm going to say this. I'm also not advocating for people to have loopholes to get through things. However, everybody's been damaged by the way that we do things. And I think it's time we did things differently. I think it's time that we actually genuinely spoke and expressed. And it is hard, says the introvert. It is hard. But without that, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe if I can't speak to you. I don't feel safe if I don't actually have enough time to get to know the kind of person that you are. I don't feel safe if you're afraid to even say the word sex. And that's where our society is at. We're afraid to say sex. We're afraid to say sex work. We're afraid to say that we have fantasies. We're afraid to say that we have desires. We're afraid to say we have lust. What kind of a place are we trying to live in when we're afraid of our own senses and feelings? Like, what kind of message are we giving? I find that bizarre and strange and wrong, but it's something that I think can only change over time. I think it's something that we each need to invest in ourselves first, and then see what happens when we start sharing with other people.